Alright, when it comes to my grow tall journey, my recent video, which indicated that I have a tibia of a person who's 5'10", and again, that would be nighttime height, 5'10" nighttime height, so that would be 5'11" morning height. Since my tibia is that long, and also my grow tall journey, gaining a little over 2 inches in height gains, and that's morning height gains. Um, yeah. And hopefully you understand what that means. If you don't, you can look at my other videos. But I had a morning height from the beginning of my journey, and from that morning height, a little over 2 inches above, I've gone a little over 2 inches above that very first morning height. Okay. Now, some may assume that my case is rare, and that it may not work for everyone. Okay. Let me read this comment and I'll address it. Okay. Um, we'll say this is from Mr. 7 o'clock man. Okay, I don't know the name. All right. So it says, you are a great person, and I have been subscribed to your channel for a long time. First of all, I appreciate that, sir. I appreciate it. I know it's been a bumpy ride, man. I know it ain't been smooth, but you still been sticking here. Hey, man, I appreciate it, and I intend to show you more. Yeah, I intend to show that with more than just words. But anyway, but your routine that you are doing, like food, weight, and exercise, is done by many athletes, and despite that, they do not increase their height. I think your case is rare and may not work for everyone. Okay. Alright. Well, I wrote some things down. May not be the very best answer. I have time constraints. So I could just spend a little time before this video to just write some initial thoughts. Hopefully I cover enough. But I'm sure this matter will come up again, if not by you, by someone else. But here it is. Here's the answer here. What I did, first of all, what I did to get taller. It may look like other athletes are doing it, but that's with your eyes and not mine. To say that what I do is what other athletes, have been doing, that's an assumption. Okay? There is a difference with what I do and what you may see athletes doing. In fact, there are several differences with regard to what I do and what other athletes are doing. So to say it's the same, that's assuming you know everything I do and you know everything that they do. And it's like, you really don't know that. So I'm saying, from what I know, from what I can tell, what I can judge, no, what I do is different. What I have done is different. So right off the bat, I would reword this region of the comment as the athletes do. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, okay. So I'm done with that part. Let me get on to the other things, okay? Now, okay, I say that what I do, what other people do, is different, even though it looks the same. But hey, it may be that some elements are the same, okay? And so, with that being said, we have to face another reality. Here, you say they do not increase their height. Well, Mr. 7 o'clock man, I would say that instead of saying it like this, the words should read, they do not seem to increase their height. Because in reality, some athletes are increasing their height. And that's why we hear of some athletes having second growth spurts in their 20s. How many NBA players do we hear that grow a significant amount in their 20s? Also, other sports players grow in their 20s. Okay? So there are athletes who are growing, not even by just a little bit, but by a lot, in their 20s. Okay? And I would also venture to say that there may be more growing than are reported. Because and here's one way that some athletes' height increases may be hidden. As you may know, I'm sure other people know about it, a lot of athletes overstate their heights for professional reasons, because it may have something to do with recruitment or something like that. I'm really not deep into that world, but if you are, you may realize, you may know that many athletes actually overstate their height. And a number of them who overstate their height, they have a hope that later they actually grow into the height that they state. Okay, so let's say someone is 6, they may state a height of 6'6", but in reality they're 6'5", and they're hoping that maybe in their college years they grow to 6'6" or something like that. Okay, I mean, I'm just speaking of a dynamic. Okay, I don't know whether you're aware of it or you agree with this dynamic or not, but what I'm saying is there's even an understanding that growth can happen later. And I would also venture to say that there are athletes out there who are actually trying to grow taller in their 20s. But just like with regular people, it's not something that they report. It's not something to brag about, Hey, I'm trying to grow taller. No one is saying that. The most dignified way to handle it is try to grow, don't talk about it, and just report the height as it comes. And with some athletes, they have actually overstated their height, and when they grow, they just meet the height that they originally stated. This is a dynamic. It's not something talked about, but I understand that it happens, and it happens a lot. Okay? So again, my point is, there are athletes out there who are growing in their 20s, and it is known, but there are also perhaps far more that the public do not know about. In addition, I don't know, are there some athletes who are growing and do not know it? Perhaps. Yeah. So that's that, and I do want to talk about the dynamic with the pregnant women a little bit. Just like with a lot of them, they don't even realize that they got taller until they go to a doctor and get their height checked. And so, it could be a similar thing with athletes. They could get taller, they don't know it, they don't realize it until maybe they go to the doctor. But if they got taller, then let's say they got taller than their stated height at 25. Do you think the news media and everyone would be in a rush to report that? I mean, I'm aware that when something is outside of the norm and it raises too many questions, and if it's understood that men don't grow after 25, if that's the understanding, that men don't grow after 25, but a basketball player goes to the doctor and it's clear he grew after 25, but most other doctors believe growth is impossible after 25. Well, on his stats, it's still going to read the original height. Let's say he was 6'6", and now he's 6'7", or 6'7.5". Well, the stats are still going to read 6'6", because it's just going to be weird now. I mean, on video games, it says he's 6'6", and all the paperwork and media reports and whatever, it says 6'6", and then it'll be kind of embarrassing if it's now stated at 6'7.5", because a lot of people are going to assume that his height was mismeasured before, and so it can look funny. It's a lot of politics. We have to understand the dynamics. Now, some may say, "Hey, Skin, you're getting a little too deep into this," but no, I am stating the realities. The person has to know how the world works, how people are, how things operate. Similar to when I went to the dentist. Well, it wasn't a dentist. It was a student who was working on being a dental hygienist, and she was about to graduate, and she needed to scale someone's teeth. She needed to clean someone's teeth. So she asked me if I could be her subject. And so I went there. I hadn't gone to the dentist in over a decade, yet I hardly had any tartar in my mouth. And there's a grading scale, and from what I remember, that scale goes from 1 to 10 when it comes to the amount of tartar. But the tartar in my mouth was so low that the teacher had to check it, and the teacher was shocked that it was low and asked multiple times, "Now, when was the last time you've been to the dentist?" And so the student had to document what my number was, my scale number. If you know anything about dentistry, you might be aware of the actual terminology, but it has a number, and they were, the student was asking, so should I put 1 or 2? And the teacher, she kind of paused because, and you could tell, it really looked like a 1. But this is what the teacher told her. The teacher told her, just put 2. Put 2 because he hasn't gone to the dentist. I think at the time it was like 12 years or something like that. He hasn't been to the dentist in 12 years. So just put a 2. So you see, even though in my mouth the tartar level could have really been at a 1, they put 2 because it looked funny. And so I'm trying to help anyone who's listening right now. If they're not aware, there is just we have to factor in the people dynamic when it comes to data or knowledge or reality. I mean, there is reality. There is what's really going on, the truth of the matter. But then there's a reporting, or how can you say, a transmission of reality with people static in it. So we may not get the whole truth as it is, but with discernment, I believe we can get there, or we can get pretty close to it. And so I said all of that to just help you see that it is I believe, just understanding people. I know that if a basketball player goes from 6'6" to 6'8", and it happens later on in life, like when he's like 26 or 27 or whatever, I know his stats are still going to read 6'6". Now, I could be wrong. I don't know everything. I looked at a scripture before I started on this video. It says right here, if anyone thinks he really knows something, he has not yet learned it as he ought to know it. Okay? So that goes for me, but I think that goes for everybody. Okay? So, like what I'm talking about right now, hey, I have to realize, or just be careful to realize that there could be things I don't know about it. And in the same way, a lot of people think this way. A lot of people think the way that this comment reads. But I'm just saying that there are other things out there, other factors involved. Okay? I hope I'm communicating this right, but it's just a dynamic there. So my point is, there may be athletes who are, in fact, growing. All right, but there's more to this here. Okay, right here where it says, I think your case is rare and may not work for everyone. I can appreciate that thought. I can appreciate that thought, but if I would make a reply to it, I would say even if I am a rare case, it's because of my mindset. It's not because of happenstance. It's because of the way I was thinking. Because remember, my height did not come on its own. I had the thought, and then that thought led me to specific actions. And even from the very beginning, I would say the actions that I am taking, they ain't the actions that y'all taking. That's how I would speak back then, and it wasn't to be arrogant or anything like that. I just knew the reality of it. Folk wasn't drinking raw milk. Folk didn't even know who Sally Fallon was. They didn't know about nourishing traditions. They didn't know the dynamics of the Maasai and the 7-foot tall Native Americans. They didn't know that story. But for me, I knew that, and I made a decision to implement it because I was in my mid-30s and I needed every advantage I could get. And also organic. I was big on organic, but you had a lot of people who were saying, oh, organic isn't that important. Or you would have people saying, oh, nutrition is not important. It's really about the exercise. But I thought differently. So what I'm saying is, you could say my case is rare, but what also needs to be acknowledged is that what I was doing was rare, even among the Grow Tall community. What I was doing was rare. And it's been my whole thing to, I wanted people to know, it's like, if you're not getting results, do something rare. I may not have used that exact language, but that was my spirit. It was like, if the results aren't happening, maybe change up the food. Maybe look into this Weston A. Price information. That was my thing. Like, look at some things I'm doing. Don't just say it doesn't work. I'm doing some things that you are not doing. That's what I would say to my audience. I'm doing things that you are not doing. So see what I'm doing and look at the reasoning behind it to understand the possibilities for yourself. And so, again, when you say your case is rare, I would say my thinking was rare. And it led me to do rare things, so that the results I get are rare. And so it may, if I may use these words, it looks like a phenomena, such late growth, but I'm all about mastering phenomena, and we all can master it to where what's rare doesn't have to be rare anymore. As an example, Roger Bannister. No one, the world at large couldn't run a 4-minute mile. He did it. After he broke that barrier, a whole lot of other people started doing it. So at one point, the 4-minute mile was rare. Now it's not rare. And what was the hurdle that needed to be overcome? It was the thinking. It was the mindset. It was the thinking. And so, again, whenever we make blanket statements, they reveal a way of thinking, a pattern of thinking. And so, in responding to your comment, I'm really addressing mindset, because like you state some things that appear to be fact, but I would say that they really show a mindset. Okay? Yeah. Let me see what else I wrote here. And again, I appreciate this comment. It's a good one. It's a good one. You ain't the only one. I've heard comments like this several times. This is I think maybe the most I've ever addressed it. I guess I don't know. Yeah, I wrote this down. Yeah. Okay. Chiseled physiques are rare, but attainable. For some, it's harder due to their body. For others, it's harder due to their mind, their thinking patterns. For yet others, it's both. It's both mind and body, and one feeds the other. Okay? So, yeah, I just wrote that down. I was going to elaborate on that, but I'm not. Let me get to my next point. Okay, yeah. So, as the comment reads, your case is rare and may not work for everyone. And, again, while that may be true, there's a deeper story behind that, as I've been communicating to you. And furthermore, the fact is, I willed my height into existence. It didn't come by itself. I made it come. And so, that's the thing. We first have to believe we can make it come, and then do the process to make it come. And next thing will be like Arnold Schwarzenegger, coming all the time. That's a reference. In fact, one of the reasons I chose the Skin Tight Flash name is it's an old '70s video clip of Arnold Schwarzenegger talking about how his muscles feel against his very tight skin. It's better than having sex with a woman. It's like coming, and he said, "Can you imagine how much I'm in heaven? I'm coming all the time. I'm coming when I go to the gym. I'm coming when I go home. I'm coming all the time." Anyway, great clip. You should watch it. All right. So yeah, right here it says certain path I followed, and if I didn't follow that path to gain height, I'd still be in the 5'7" realm. I'd still be there. In my 40s, I'd be still in the 5'7" realm. So yeah, fact is, I made this happen. Okay. I also wrote, once you really know the path, you can discern what is not the path. Okay. And see, that's another thing. Like, to you, it can look like those athletes are doing what I'm doing, but I know what I'm doing. I can say, no, they ain't doing what I'm doing. And you might say, well, how can you say that? All you're doing is this, that, and that. No, see, now that's an arrogant statement if you go there. If you say, all you're doing is this, wait, you're being arrogant. You don't know all I'm doing. It wouldn't even make sense to communicate all I'm doing. That's life doesn't work like that. I mean, come on now. Come on. If you want to take Ronnie Coleman, okay, Ronnie Coleman. And see, that's another thing. One time I had a comment. Someone say, why don't you just tell us what you do? Oh, okay. Would you say the same thing to Ronnie Coleman? Would you say the same thing to Ronnie Coleman? 8-time Mr. Olympia. And he's doing something that's accepted. Bodybuilding. Bodybuilding is accepted by everybody. It's seen as possible. It's mainstream. But you're going to walk up to Ronnie Coleman and say, Ronnie Coleman, just tell me everything you do. Just tell me what to do right now. Tell me. You really think it works like that? I have no idea why some viewers to this channel have that thinking. That makes no sense. It's insanity. Ronnie Coleman or anyone else, Arnold Schwarzenegger, anyone else, if they were to explain something to you that is seen as doable and acceptable, it would take more than a moment to explain it to you, but you want to ask me about something impossible. And you want me to explain it to you in a moment. What sense does that make? One guy left a comment like that several months ago, and it's just comment just sitting there. No. That's insanity. That's insane. I don't deal with no. Okay, moving on. What else did I write here? I gotta say it. The best way to learn is to submit to the process until you get your first height increases. Mastery involves mastery. That's life. So, one of the final things I would say to you is challenge yourself to really learn what I'm doing. Don't just assume you know what I'm doing. And don't just assume don't just assume you know what I'm doing. And don't just assume it can all be known in a moment. That's an arrogant stance. And you may not have much respect for me. But the process to getting taller, you're going to need to have respect for that. Just like whether you respect Ronnie Coleman or Arnold Schwarzenegger or Mike Mentzer or any of the other bodybuilders out there, while your respect for them may be low, the process you're gonna have to respect. You're gonna have to respect it. And sure, they could tell you some things, and then you could go to the gym and you could start to build the body of your dreams. Yeah. But why is it that so many chiseled people who look more spectacular than most men will pay someone like Arnold Schwarzenegger and these other bodybuilders to help them to get at even higher levels. They realize it's more. There is more knowledge to be had. Even if they know something, even if they have a measure of knowledge, there is more knowledge to be had. And there's a process to understanding it and mastering it. And so I just want to say it would really be a silly thing for a person to gain muscle, but they can never win a bodybuilding competition, and they say, "Man, I just can't do it. I'm not cut out for it." And how asinine that would be for them to throw their hands up before getting mentorship by someone who's done it. That would be silly. Now, some may not need mentorship. Those who have success with it, they're able to do it on their own, and they're able to win championships or whatever. I don't know. Everybody's different, but some may need mentorship. There may be something that you actually need, something that you don't know that the other person can help you to know. So what I'm saying is, there's a process. We have to submit to it. If you don't want to respect me, hey, that's your choice. But if there's certain results that you want in life, there's a process you gotta respect. And me, I'm still learning it. I don't say I know it all. I can't do that. I can't do that. I don't know if you've grown or not as an adult. I don't know. I don't know if you've done a grow tall routine or have tried a routine. I don't know what kind of results you've gotten. I don't know if you got zero results or spectacular results. I don't know. But what I would say is, if the essence of your comment is actually that these things don't work for you, I would challenge you to actually work with someone who's done it, me or someone else. I mean, I don't know how old you are, whatever, but, the guy I mentioned before, Tyro Life. Homeboy got a Grow Tall course now. Just found that out within the last day or so. Austin Wayne, Tyro Life, the young guy, went from 5'9" to 6'4" in 1 year. Now homeboy in his 20s, he's 6'6". He realized he done grew in his 20s. Homeboy done grew in his 20s, and now he got a Grow Tall course. He got a Grow Tall something. He's developing it or something. Don't assume you know everything. If you're not getting the results, don't say, well, shoot, I did what that person was doing. Do you know? Did you really do what the other guy was doing? Get with the other guy. Talk to him. Get some mentorship. That's life. That's how life works. Some things they don't teach us in school. Mentorship is important. All right. I do want to throw out a challenge to you. I don't know. Or something to consider. After priming, I believe a person can get a height increase within 10 days after priming their height. Now again, I do not know everything. Okay? I may still have more to learn in that regard, but I do believe if a person primes their height, they're only about 10 days from a height increase. And you might want to go through that process with someone who really knows what they're doing. I don't know how else to tell you. I don't know how any other way to tell you that. And this may not be relevant to you, but depending on the listener. Also, I wrote on here, bodybuilding 10-day challenge accepted. There will be results. Yeah. Just like with bodybuilding, you take someone who's really trained in bodybuilding and they really know what they're doing. They can take anybody off the street, and they will cause that person to see a measurable change within 10 days. It's understood. It's indisputable. It's taken as fact. They have a confidence that within a matter of days they can get their height to the. They can get their muscle to the next level. They can measure their biceps, and they say 10 days from now there will be a change. Well, I feel the same way about height. And I'm even making it harder for myself. I say, after you have primed your height. You see, I could take someone's height right now. Of course I can make them see a height increase in 10 days. Now, of course, we go with morning height. You take your morning height from day one or whatever, and of course I can make you go up. If you measure your height on day one, of course I can make you see a height increase within 10 days from that. That's easy. That's easy. However, I say prime it first. Prime it. However long you need to prime it, you can prime it for a week, prime it for 2 weeks. And you see, over the course of those 1 or 2 weeks, you're going to have a height that you're going to see heights that are taller than you were on your first day. You might see that over the course of those 1 or 2 weeks. And then, over the course of that time, you will get familiar to what your top morning height is, and you're gonna have a top morning height. And so after you've primed, I'm saying I want to beat that top morning height, because on the first day you measure your morning height, that may not be your top morning height. You may not see your top morning height until, I don't know, day 4, day 5, or something like that. Who knows? But I'm saying after you prime your height, we can see a height increase above that, I believe, in 10 days. 10 days is all that's needed. However, one must submit to the discipline. And see, that's another thing. People be looking for a pill. A pill may not be the answer. For some, it may be the answer. But for others, it may not be. It's just like with bodybuilding. People think it's a pill with that, like steroids or whatever. But no. Even with steroids, a person got to do the work. There is a discipline they have to submit to. There is a process they have to submit to. The steroids just enhance whatever process that they are already submitting to. So, with this Grotol stuff, there could be supplements here, supplements there that'll help. But at the end of the day, it's a process, and it is a mindset. Even with bodybuilders, they have to have their mind right. They got to have that mindset to be able to submit to the discipline. It's the same with this grow tall stuff, and it can be a little harder for the grow tall stuff because there are a whole lot of mind tricks, especially when that 4-minute mile hasn't been broke through yet, so to speak. I think you get my drift. Peace.